Hello everyone, my name is Iain Maitland and I'm the author of The Old Man, His Dog and Their Longest Journey, published by Vellum Publishing, an up-and-coming publisher from Manchester. What we're going to do today is a question and answer session. We've had a number of questions come in from bloggers, readers and reviewers, and my wife Tracy has written them up on these cards. And I'm going to go through them. Don't know what the questions are, obviously don't know what the answers are going to be. It's completely unrehearsed, so if I stutter or stumble or fall off my chair, whatever, we'll just get up and carry on. Okay, so the first question: what was the inspiration for the book? And that's from Evie in Worcestershire. Thank you, Evie. It's a semi-autobiographical novel. I wrote two books previously, Dear Michael, Love Dad and Out of the Madhouse with my oldest son Michael. I've been with my wife Tracy since 1979 and we have three children, Michael, Sophie, Adam, and they have three lovely partners, Georgia, Glyn and Sophie. And we're a really happy family. But Michael, our eldest, went away to university. It's going back into, I think, 2007. And he suffered there with anxiety, and that rolled into depression and finally anorexia, and it saw him in the Priory for 5 months. He then came home and we thought we would lose him. We didn't. He fought his way back slowly but surely, and he got a job. He's a tattooist up the town in Felixstowe where we live. He has a wonderful partner, Georgia, who's now his wife, and they have a beautiful son together, Jonah. But it was a tough time, and with his blessing I wrote Dear Michael, Love Dad, and then together we wrote Out of the Madhouse, which was based on his diaries in the Priory. The books have always been with us. We still do radio and press, and we do webinars, and we do talks in schools and colleges and to parents, as we're both ambassadors for STEM4, the teenage mental health charity. So it's kind of never gone away, and I wanted to revisit it, and so I've written The Old Man, His Dog and Their Longest Journey, which is kind of looking at things from Iain, which is kind of loosely me. Has a breakdown and he goes for a long walk with his dog Bernard, which is based on Bernard the dog, and he walks from Felixstowe, where we live, up to Hunstanton, where he stands on the cliff and has to make his final decision. So as I say, semi-autobiographical. The next question then, what is your writing process? That's from Martin it's either Nottingham or Mottingham in South London, not sure which. Either way, thank you, Martin. My writing process is straightforward. I am a full-time writer, a full-time novelist, really, and I have been since 2016. I'd spent many years writing about business and finance and property, and I got to the point, funnily enough, at the same age as Iain in the book has his breakdown. I got to kind of early 50s and I thought, I just can't do this anymore. I'm going to just be a novelist and just write books, which is what I've done, and mainly psychological thrillers lately. My last one, The Perfect Husband, was an Amazon bestseller, and I've got another 2 or 3 lined up. So this is a bit of a departure for me, The Old Man, His Dog and Their Longest Journey, and I'm thrilled to be, to have it out. My writing process is straightforward. I work, this is a job really in a way, much as I love it. It's a hobby if I couldn't earn a living from it, but I do. So I'm kind of Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. If, Martin, you mean by writing process, how do I write a book? There's no magical ingredients. I have a rough idea of where the story is going to go. And then I sit down and I write the prologue, and I write chapter 1, 2, 3 and 4 and so on. Sometimes I'll jump forward and back if there's a scene I really, really want to do that day, particularly a dramatic scene, and sometimes you'll then spin off in a different direction. But there's nothing magical about my writing, unfortunately. I just work 9 to 5 and I do it from chapter 1 to chapter 25 or whatever. Thank you. Okay, this next question: how closely do you relate or feel connected to the characters in The Old Man, His Dog and Their Longest Journey? And that's from Ali in Barnsley. Thank you, Ali. Well, yeah, I mean, Iain is kind of me. I'm 61 now. This was kind of, Iain was 54, which is kind of when I gave everything up to become a full-time novelist. So he is kind of 50-50 me. To be honest, the 3 children in the book, who are called Alex, Beth and Joe are pretty much Michael, Sophie and Adam, my own three children. It is a love letter to my family, if I'm completely honest. My children don't see it at the moment. Sophie thinks I'm just kind of having a pop at them all, every chapter really. But I think hopefully down the line when they look at it again, they'll see that it is a love letter to them. So yeah, I do identify the wife in the book is different from my wife for reasons that will become apparent when hopefully you read the book. And we've got one or two other different characters. Bernard's very much like Bernard, our dog, Jack Russell dog. So yeah, thank you, Ali. We do. It's close. And the next question, we've got two more. This one is from Billy and Andrew in Hove. Thank you, Billy and Andrew. Thank you. Why do you think the book is so relatable to different ages? Well, I have made a very conscious effort to make a book that's universally appealing, really. And the way that you do that is very simple. You deal with themes that everyone can identify with. So you talk of love and loss and warmth and humour and grief. And you mix them all into the pot with a good story. So Iain essentially has a breakdown. He takes his dog and he walks from Felixstowe, as I say, to Hunstanton, the cliffs there. And his family don't notice he's gone straight away, but then they do. And then obviously the children rally to try and save him. And hopefully they can draw him back from the brink. They can draw him back from the cliffs. So it is relatable because I just deal with all the themes that we all know about love and we know about loss, and we hopefully don't have so much in terms of grief, but for everyone has grief in their life somewhere. And there's humour and there's hope and there's heartache and happiness, a bit of everything. Thank you. And another Andrew from Norfolk this time. Thank you, Andrew, for your question. What is the importance of talking about mental health and how does this relate to the book? Well, everything I do is related to mental health, really. All my writing, I mean, all the psych thrillers have lead characters who have mental ill health, and it's just part of everything that I do now, and it really comes from what happened with Michael. I remember so many vivid things with Michael. I got a text from his partner at the time saying that he'd collapsed and been taken to hospital, and I texted back saying, is it terminal? And I think the next 3 minutes were the longest of my life because I was kind of waiting to hear back to say that we lost him. I remember seeing Michael in hospital, this big lad of kind of 6 foot, 12, 13 stone, as was, now so thin and such a state that he couldn't sit up in the wheelchair he was being pushed around in. And I remember seeing him in the Priory, which is just the most awful place to visit. I mean, it's a wonderful place in its way, but you see so many patients there, and they're in dire straits. So everything that I write now really comes from that, and I try and write about mental health in a positive way. So Iain, at the beginning of the book, suffered his experienced redundancy. And he thinks he's ill, and he just feels slightly estranged from his family, and so he just goes on a walk. And the importance of talking about mental health, well, we never did with Michael, and I think that was part of his downfall. He never talked about it with us, and I've tried to recreate that in The Old Man, his dog, and The Longest Journey. Iain doesn't talk about it, he just goes and he just walks, and he's going to try and sort it out in his head. And there are various bits within the book where he's kind of forced to talk about what's going on in his life. And I think those are turning points. So talking is very, very important. The importance of talking about mental health and how it relates to the book. Yeah, I mean, mental health is a theme right through the book. I didn't want to write both Dear Michael, Love Dad and Out of the Madhouse were kind of clearly mental health memoirs. And I don't think you necessarily would read those unless you or one of your family members had mental health issues. This, I think, is much wider. I try to make this a book about love and warmth and happiness, but the mental ill health, the depression, the anxiety that this guy feels, Iain, is kind of threaded through it. But it's not purely and simply about mental health, but it is, as I say, a theme. So I think that's about it. Thank you for those questions, everybody. They're really good. Once again, I'll just show you the book. I think it comes up back to front the way I'm filming this, but you can work it out, I'm sure. It's The Old Man, His Dog and Their Longest Journey. It's by a wonderful publisher. I'm really pleased to have been working with them. Vellum Publishing in Manchester, up and coming. I think they're going to be a big name in the industry over the coming years, so please do watch for them. If you want to buy the book, you can buy it direct from Vellum, which is simply Vellum Publishing, 2 L's of course, publishing.co.uk. You can buy it from there. Also Amazon, of course, Waterstones, Smiths. I think I've seen it in foils, which I'm really pleased about. I really love foils as a bookshop. And if you want to check me out, Iain Maitland, IAINMAITLAND.net. I can send you a little signed message if you're buying it for somebody else and you want to kind of pop something inside, and that can double up as a bookmark. And that's it. Thank you very much. See you again.